Hey everyone, good evening. Good
Hi,
evening if
Ankit.
you are in India. Hello,
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
hello.
Ankit, how
Hey
are you?
everyone, I am doing fine. What about everyone? I think so many people after a long time.
Yeah,
Cool. So, welcome back everyone. We'll just go ahead and start the session in just a minute. Cool. Yes, everyone. Hi Milan. Hi Avinav. Yeah, so many old faces. Cool. So I hope my screen is also visible now, which says technology for product managers. So yeah, I'll set the context first. Okay, so this was long pending. So we have when we do technology for product managers in the session, what we do is we give you like some kind of pre-recorded sessions, and we also give you some kind of live sessions out there. And we were able to find I was browsing these sessions like some time ago, like about 3 4 weeks ago, and I was able to find that some of the information is now kind of outdated. Like this is now how we see the information, and artificial intelligence and machine learning are also becoming a critical part, and new kind of tools are also being introduced. So and also job market is also getting like a lot tougher these days. So I thought of maybe why don't I go ahead and help you guys by adding one more skill out there. And also there were a lot of questions coming from you people, like in the comment sections of YouTube and also directly, that yes, if this is something that we are looking after, like from the context of that particular video out there. And rather than going ahead and helping you out one on one, I thought maybe we'll go ahead and create this live session again. So in case if you have any kind of questions, that would be answered. And we will also make sure that if there is some limited content in those particular session which we give you in terms of recording, that would also be solved in this particular case. Okay, so this is how we are going to start technology for product managers. This contains like a combination of many batches. I think from batch number 1 I could see Milan, and now from the latest batch I could also see a lot of folks out there. So yes, this is the context. Now we'll go ahead and start with today's session. So this is going to be like a long series. You'll have to spend like 2 or 3 weeks together, where we'll conduct like 3 sessions about one particular alternate day. So Monday, Wednesday, and Friday is going to be your timing. The sessions are going to be shorter. Like in the main session, we take around 2.5 hours. But here we are going to take only about 90 minutes, 90 minutes, 45, 40 minutes, 5 minutes of slot, and maybe with a break of about 5 minutes in between. And we'll keep this interactive to make sure that I'm going ahead and answering any kind of questions that you might have. Okay, so this is about it. And cool. Just let me know in the chat if you guys want to go ahead so that I can go ahead and start with today's session. And today is going to be like an overview of what we are about to do in the next coming 7, 8, 9 sessions out there. Cool. Thank you, Srishti. Thank you, Unmesh. Yes. So let's go. Cool. So this is technology for product managers. And this is going to be the agenda for today's call. The first thing that we are going to do is we'll try to understand why as a PM you need to understand technology. Some content would be like a revision for some of the candidates who have seen the recording, while for some people it would be brand new content. But yes, designs are definitely completely new. So first we are going to understand why as a PM you need to understand technology. I'm going to give you 4 reasons today. Then we are going to talk about what all we are going to learn in the coming couple of weeks or 3 weeks. Okay, so I'm going to tell you in a bit of detail, and then going forward in the next session, we are going to cover all of these aspects in detail. Okay, and in the end, we are also going to contain like a small survey, as in if we are missing something on any of these sessions out there, we will make sure that we are taking that feedback from you right now, and we'll be including that in a couple of more sessions. Okay, so yes, so now first question first, why to learn technology as a PM? Can someone go ahead and help me out over here? Why do you think we should learn product technology as a product manager?
because first of all, we deal with tech.
Yes, correct. You deal with tech and you should be familiar with your territory, right? To estimate the tech effort in the product roadmap. Yes, that is like that would be a dream, I would say. You cannot do it, even like a developer who himself is working on, he could not do. But yeah, we'll give you some kind of frameworks that can help you out. Yeah, Zen, please go ahead.
Yeah, I think to better, let's say, align with the engineering team, to
Yes, yes.
understand yourself what can be done, what cannot be done,
Correct,
and
correct,
probably even sympathize with them as they are also like users of the product in some ways.
perfect, perfect, Zen, perfect. That's good. Yeah, Nikhil has also made a very valid point, which is act as an intermediate between the business and the engineering team. Yes, that's it. That is also fantastically very, very correct reason to go ahead and learn tech. Okay, understand people that even if your aim is not to go ahead and become a PN, if you are in a different kind of role such as operations, marketing, or something, these are basic building blocks that everyone who is there in the 21st century working for any kind of tech-based company that should know. Okay, so all of the knowledge that I'm going to tell you, although it is being reframed or framed from a product manager's angle, but it is still true for everyone, like no matter what kind of position you have in a company, it is important for you to learn technology. With that being said, I'll tell you 4 reasons why as a PM, this information about technology can go ahead and help you out. In what ways? Okay, so first way is it will help you understand your product really well. Okay, so as I think Srishti might have mentioned, or someone has mentioned right now, I forgot the name, I missed the name. So they were saying that since you are working in tech, you have to know tech. Okay, which means that if your product is actually based on tech and you are responsible for getting outcomes from that product, you are responsible for achieving the business outcomes from that product. If you are responsible for making sure that product works really well, it improves with time, then definitely you have to understand technology. Okay, I'll give you some examples. Okay, so for example, consider that you are a product manager at Zerodha. Okay, so how many of you here have used Zerodha? Tell me yes in the chat, please. Cool, cool, cool. So I'll tell you like how it works and like what role does an engineer plays. So understand, guys, rather than focusing only on the concept, we are also going to like talk about a few stories so that your vocabulary of going ahead and adding anecdotes to your conversation also increases. Okay. So yes. So let us see how Zerodha works. And I'm only talking about equity part of Zerodha. Equity part as in where they go ahead, you can share, you can buy, and you can sell equity market, which is shares and stocks. Okay, so this is Zerodha. And in Zerodha's ecosystem, what you can do is you can look at the list of stocks. Okay, so for example, you might have one stock of ICICI Bank, you would have another stock of maybe some Bandhan Bank, you would have maybe a very talked about stock Adani Deshten, and you'll have some kind of small caps as well. Okay, now Zerodha is only a platform where all of these transactions are actually initiated. Okay, so the situation is you want to go ahead and you want to buy some stock of ICICI. Okay, now as a user, what you will do now as Zerodha, what will happen is that user will go ahead, it will give a request to ICICI, but behind the scene, what will happen is that they will go ahead. So whenever you have gone ahead and tried to make a trade on Zerodha, they will tell you whether you want to buy this from National Stock Exchange or you want to buy it from Bombay Stock Exchange. Okay, according to that, they are going to choose a third party. The third party here is the person who is actually maintaining all of those transactions. So no matter you are using Zerodha, you are using Upstock, you are using maybe an IND Money, you are using, or maybe an ICICI Direct, you have to make sure that all of this information would be sent for transaction actually to the National Stock Exchange or the Bombay Stock Exchange. Okay, so as a product manager, if you want to make sure that your customers are having the best experience in terms of speed, in terms of how the transactions are being settled, in terms of what the data should look like, what the data is available to you, you should know how your function, which is Zerodha, is actually integrating with these third-party systems. Okay, so maybe one thing that you should definitely know if you want to go ahead and work as a product manager Zerodha is how the API works, which is a term that we are going to discover later. Okay, because if you do not know this, you would not know these levers of optimization that can help you as a product manager. Okay, so only if you understand things well, then only you can go ahead and improve them. So whatever your product is, you should always make sure that you are understanding the technology and the fundamental building blocks behind it. Okay, so that is the context why as a product manager, you should go ahead and invest time in learning technology. Okay, understand technology is very vast. Okay, there is no one in the world who knows everything that is possible in technology, and that is absolutely not possible because things are evolving at a much faster pace. So what you have to do is build your context, understand what are the fundamental building blocks of any technology that you can talk about in these days, and then go ahead, go to the company, try to spend some time in order to understand how your specific product works. That is one example. Okay. To give you another example, there is this company known as YouTube. Okay. So for YouTube, this is, I believe this is set up, this is known to everyone that as a product manager, you are the advocate of the customer. Okay. And since you are the advocate of the customer, you have to make sure that you are able to give them a better experience. And if you want to give them a better experience, you should know what is important for them. So as a YouTube user, what is important for them? It is important for them that the speed at which the video is rendering, that is correct. Okay. If they are watching at mobile device, then they should not be going ahead and wasting a lot of bandwidth. Okay. And in order to have all of this information, you should be able to create some kind of feature. So you should have seen on YouTube that whenever you are loading the video on YouTube on your device, depending on what the resolution of the device is, it is going to downscale or upscale the videos. And it will also give you an option that yes, you can also go ahead and upscale or downscale the videos in terms of the pixels out there, like it is HD, it is 4K or something out there. Okay, that understanding is going to come from the PM by understanding the problem that yes, this is possible. And how would you know if this is possible? By having some kind of understanding of how video streaming or how content delivery networks, vocabulary such as this works. So you need to know these things in order to explore, yes, what is happening, what could be the possibility of increasing the customer experience, improving the customer experience. Okay, and the third is Uber. In Uber, if you want to determine whether you should go ahead and apply the surge pricing, what should be the particular price of a particular trip, what should be the estimated time to arrival, all of these things, these algorithms are indicated by product managers. Okay, they are not completely responsible for executing them, but the idea mostly generates from the product manager. Okay, and in order to get these kind of ideas, you should have some understanding of how GPS works. Okay, so as a product manager, it could become your superpower to go ahead and understand technology. Okay, so multiple things that we have talked about, all of these things would be a part of something that we are going to learn in the coming days, which is API, which is how video streaming works, how CDN, and actually we are going to understand what is like the structure behind, what is the system design behind YouTube as well. Okay, just understand one thing, that when you go ahead and go through all of this content, so we have planned a lot of content. Okay, we have planned a lot of content which is around APIs and everything that we are going to talk about. You will feel like you are drinking from a fire hose, which is a lot of things are coming at you and you are only able to get few of them. That is completely okay. Okay, it is very logical. It is like very obvious or like very natural for you to get overwhelmed with the kind of content that we are going to give you. You just have to keep at it. Okay, just make sure that you are consuming the content, revising it. In case of anything, any doubts that you might have, you should be able to go ahead and ask it to us. Okay, don't compare yourself with where your colleagues are or where the other participants in the room are right now or where you are at the end of the session. Just compare yourself to right now. As in, after the end of the session, after the end of this module, if you have understood few things about technology, I think your time invested should be justified. Okay, so just the word of caution for everyone that in these sessions, you might be feeling like you are drinking from a fire hose, which is a lot of content is coming at you and you are only able to consume some of it. That is also okay. But you would be better at a better position than you are right now in terms of technical understanding. Okay, so that was the first reason that if you want to go ahead and improve your products, you have to first understand how it works, so that you can understand those important smaller levers in order to understand that, yes, this is how it happens. And if I can go ahead and break it down into smaller pieces, I should be able to optimize it. I can create it into a new feature or benefit for the customers. Okay, so if you are implementing first principle thinkings in your product, then you should know technology in order to identify those small levers. Cool. The second reason, which I think Zen has correctly mentioned, which is empathize with developers. Okay, understand, you as a product manager cannot operate without developers. But as developer, they can operate without you. It has been true since the eternity. Okay. If there is a team of 10, 15 people, they would not need a product manager. But a product manager would always need some developer and designer to get the task done. Okay. So understand, developers are the actual people who are converting whatever you write into actual piece of code and working functioning component or functioning product out there. Okay. So you have to make sure that you have better stakeholder management capabilities with these people. You can empathize with them, because once you go ahead and empathize with people, then only you can understand them, then you can get the work done from them. Okay. The key to working well, the key to do something for someone is to make sure that you are able to empathize with them. How do you empathize? You have a shared vocabulary. If they are talking about something, you do not have to go ahead and ask them again and again. So if you have a shared vocabulary, then the room for confusion between you people would be very less. And understand, people who have certain kind of technical abilities, they are proven to gather some more respect from the developers. Okay. So in order to empathize with developers, you should know how they work. We are going to cover that in the sessions. You will also be able to know like what it exactly takes to convert the requirements into features. So for you, saying that just go ahead and change this button means something else. But for them, it means entirely different thing, depending on how they have structured their tech stack. That we are going to tell you, that if you tell a developer, go ahead and change the button of this color of this button or change the position of this button, what it exactly means to the developer, that is going to come in the sessions too. Okay, what means when you go ahead and tell a developer that go ahead and release this on Friday? What could it mean to the whole system out there? Why it is difficult for them? Okay, all of these things we are going to study there in the developer operations part. And then learn common vocabulary, which is very obvious, that yes, there are certain piece of things which you should know. For example, we talk about PWA, we talk about API, we talk about webhooks, we talk about schemas. So if these things are like very much known to you, then you would go ahead and become a better stakeholder, a good guy to talk with developers out there. They would love to hang out with you most of the times. Okay, so this is it. Empathize with developers. The third part is, as Nikhil has correctly mentioned, which is the third reason is you have to act as a bridge between tech and the non-tech folks. Understand? Yes, developers play a very important role, but in order to get the results, you have to make sure that you are interacting. There are some non-tech stakeholders as well, which also needs some good stakeholder management techniques from your end. Okay, so the various kind of non-tech stakeholders are the salespeople, the marketing people, and sometimes support people as well. And there could be other kind of people as well. Okay, so there are multiple ways in which you have to enable these teams, because these teams do not know how the product is working. So you have to act as a bridge between the engineering and the sales team in order to help them understand the limitation, that yes, this is what a product can do, this is what it cannot do. And if the client is asking for them, what it would mean to the business, why, if the time is taking longer, why it is taking longer. You have to bring that understanding to the salesperson and solve the problems together. Similarly, for the marketing team, if you can help them understand opportunities. For example, in the sessions, I have told you examples of how Pinterest, how Quora, they leverage the power of marketing, they leverage the power of SEO in order to go ahead and create such like effective growth loops. Okay, so whenever you search for any recipe on Google, most of the time you are going to find some list from Pinterest. If you are searching for any question on Google, you are mostly going to stumble upon a link from Quora. Okay, that happens because the engineering team, the marketing team, and the product management team have a very good coordination. They were working together. They have understood that yes, marketing team knows how SEO works. The engineering team knows how we can create these dynamic generated pages at real time. Okay, for the search engines. And then the product manager has combined both of these both of their expertise in order to create that valuable channel for the company. Okay, and similarly, your support team is going to be like your front-end warrior. Okay, they will be going ahead and they will be interacting with customers. So any problem that occurs, they should be able to go ahead and understand the root causes, and they should be able to understand and make sure that they are catering to the customers really well. So that is very, very important, which is you can help the support team in order to understand the root causes really, really well. Okay, cool. Any questions so far, guys? Any question in the three reasons out there? Cool. So yes, we'll go ahead. The fourth reason is innovate for user experience. Okay, and this is actually a combination of all three. Okay, so if you know technology, you know what are the fundamental building blocks of whatever you are creating, then you should be able to go ahead and innovate based on that. Okay, so first part was only about understanding. This part is actually about going ahead and taking the risk. Okay, so if you're confident about that, yes, this is how my product works, this is how my competition work, and this is how the marketing, the new kind of technologies are coming in the market. If you can combine all of this information, like the very good user understanding, very good technical understanding, and very good market understanding, then magic happens. Okay, and there are multiple examples. Okay, so for example, Adobe before 2010 2011, they were completely a offline first company. Offline first, as in, I'm not saying not technology, because technology is not just internet, but you have to go ahead and download the Adobe softwares. You would get a crack code to go, you would get a code in order to go ahead and activate that software, and that is how it will work. But after 2010 2011, they have gone ahead and revamped their strategy, as in they will become a cloud first software. You don't have to carry Adobe, you can just go ahead and carry your logins, and it will make sure that any device, you can just go ahead and download their desktop applications, and it will start working with your activation and all. Okay, so it was a big task, transporting something from completely desktop offline first experience to a complete cloud experience, and that they have, I think, more than 40 apps in their complete portfolio. So some product managers, her name was Leah Hickman, she has gone ahead and she has taken that, like a biggest risk of the company, because it has taken a lot of time and a lot of money and complete shift of strategy. So she was able to go ahead and envision that path, and she was like a product manager at home in order to make sure that yes, this is the path that we should take. Okay, because her technical understanding, her vision was very clear, and she was able to go ahead and convince the people out there. So understand, yes, user understanding is good, market understanding is good, technology understanding is good. If all of these things are combined, then you will have conviction in whatever strategy that you make. Otherwise, what would happen? Yes, she was able to understand that yes, this is what is going to happen, and this is what the user want. But if she does not have any understanding of the technology, then people might not take her very seriously. Okay, because she was able to go with the logic as in how these things might happen. What should the action plan be? Okay, the second very popular example is from the Netflix. Okay, and that is from the Kate Arnold. And Netflix was started as a company which was actually working on shipping like the offline DVDs to your home. Okay, and at certain period of time, they were able to understand that this is not a business that could scale. Okay, because first, people are going ahead, and all of the people are actually going ahead, and they are only demanding the most popular CDs out there, and the operation does not make sense at a scale. Okay, so then they have gone ahead, understood that yes, there is a wave of internet that is going to come, and there are some people who are actually ready to pay for it. Let us go ahead and experiment on that. It was a very large shift from a company, if you think, and that was in, I think, between 2005 to 2010, when the high bit internet was not available. So they have to take that conviction, and then things have fallen at place. Okay, and then the last part is Google AdWords. That is also a very good story, that Google and Yahoo, okay, when they were in the market, Yahoo was setting up themselves as a media company. Media company as in, yes, we have created various properties such as search, such as our media website, where we will go ahead, operate as a traditional media company, and we will go ahead and sell the advertisements or places, prominent places on this website to advertisers out there. We will have salesmen who will go to these companies, these different kind of companies, and they will sell the advertisements. But Jane Manning has convinced Google that no, this is not the way to go. Okay, the future is going to be self-served, which is like the very early phase of what we call as product-led growth these days. Okay, so right now, if we talk about product-led growth, we talk about Slack, we talk about Dropbox and all, but the real company that actually started it was actually Google, which have gone ahead and created a self-serve advertising space for people out there to make sure that yes, the user values are not we are not going ahead and reducing the user value, and we are making sure that the system is also scalable, which is what we'll do is we'll give a platform to the advertisers. They can go ahead and bid on their own. We will also consider the quality of their ads rather than only the money that they give. We will also consider the quality of their ads, and then that is how we are going to operate. And coming up with this idea not only requires like the good understanding of market and the user, but also how the technology operates. What are the inputs that are available to you from each user research, so that you can go ahead and optimize for the same. Okay, so if you want to go ahead and make sure that you want to like become like a visionary product manager or entrepreneur or product creator out there, understand one thing, only one thing cannot take you very forward, like far ahead. You have to have a good understanding of user. That is non-negotiable. You should have a very good understanding of market, so that you can understand what is going to happen. And then on the top of it, you should have a good understanding of technology, so that you know that yes, this is possible, this is not possible. Okay, so 4 reasons. First is you should be able to go ahead and If you understand technology well, you'll be able to understand your product well. Then you'll be able to empathize with the developers, get your work done with them effectively. Then you'll be able to act as a bridge between the tech and the non-tech folks. And then you'll be able to innovate for user experience. Okay. Having said that, I have given you 4 reasons, but having said that, there is a caveat as well, that as a product manager, you should always understand this sentence. Okay. And keep it to your heart that as a product manager, you are responsible for why and what. Why do we want to do this? Why do we want to take this initiative, this new feature, or this new product out there? And what is it going to look like? What are the problems that is going to solve? What is going to be our solution? But how part should only be a territory of an engineer. Although I'm going to give you the technical understanding to have a better conversation with engineers, but limit it to that. Do not try to go ahead and assume that you are going to go ahead and replace the engineers in the organization. And that happens with many people. Okay, so if you go into like the how part of it, then the conflict with engineers are going to happen. So keep this in your mind that yes, you are there to help the engineers. You can help them with data, with research, your understanding of technology. You are there to enable them. You are not there to replace them. So no matter how much understanding I can give you, okay, people who are expert engineers, you cannot go ahead and replace them. Yes, you can go ahead and turn some kind of MVPs around. You can create some prototype with the no-code tools, but it should not be your aim to go ahead and replace engineers. Your aim is to go ahead and make sure that you are enabling them so that they are able to do their best work of your life along with you. Okay, so why and what is with the product manager or any of the strategic person that is working, while how should be with the delivery team. If that's a designer, then how going ahead and creating all of the things like the high fidelity design should be with the designer. Going ahead and coding that stuff out and taking the decision on basis of what data structure should be used, what algorithm should be used, what platform should be used, what language should be used, should be always with an engineer. Cool. Any question from anyone? If you guys have no question, please go ahead in the chat so that I can go ahead with the next part of the session, which is what you are going to get. What do we promise after this session? Cool. So these are the outcomes that we promise after this session. Okay, which is after these sessions, like after these 8-9 sessions, you will become more confident with technology. Okay, you will understand what are the fundamental building blocks. So for example, if I tell you that how Facebook is created, you should be able to at least understand from first principle that yes, in order to create any technical business, these are the 4 components. Okay, these are the major technology that are working these days. Okay, this is how this technology works. Maybe not in very detail, but yes, high level understanding you should have so that you can go ahead and learn further if you want to get into the details of it. And you should be able to strike better conversation with engineers, which is work well with the techies. You would be able to empathize with them that yes, if I tell them some kind of work, this is what they have to go through. And this is how I should go ahead and paraphrase myself, like rephrase myself when I am going ahead and talking with them. And the third part is you should be able to know the fundamental building blocks of tech businesses. Okay, how does Google work? How does Facebook work? How does the YouTube work? All of this information you will know, as in these are the building blocks. You can collect all of these things in various kind of complexities, and then you should be able to come up with a tech business out there. Okay, so every business, every tech business has underlying tech around it, and you should be able to understand most of that information, like most of those building blocks, after the end of this module, which is around like 8 to 9 sessions out there. Okay, and as a result of which, if you go ahead and do all of this, then definitely you are going to become a better product manager, better product creator, or maybe a better entrepreneur as well. Okay, so personally, my background coming from computer science, like I have been very fortunate to say that I have been coding when I was in class 8th, and that has become like one very important skill that has helped me to go ahead in the career. As in whenever I go ahead and talk with the engineers, whenever I go ahead and I want to work with early stage companies out there, it has become one of the reasons why people will go ahead and choose me above anyone else out there. Why? Because I have gone ahead, I understand the technology really well. Okay, and also understand a very in-depth understanding of technology. Yes, it is very good, but from your job, it is not needed. Okay, as in yes, as a product manager, your first job, never forget that your first job is to understand why you are creating something and what you are creating. Like you have to give the clarity to your team. If you can do all of these things, that is like the added benefit. Okay, and since the market is very competitive these days, if you can add this information to your resume, to your portfolio, to your skill set, that could be really helpful for you. Okay, so now I'm going to quickly tell you what we are going to study in the coming sessions, the syllabus. Then we are going to do like a quick survey of sorts, and then we are going to wrap up the sessions to start formally the sessions from Wednesday. Cool. So the first thing that we are going to understand is how the internet works. Okay, I'm going to tell you what are the 3 basic building blocks of any internet-based technology or any internet-based application, be it an API, be it a website, be it an app out there. Okay, so every technology, like these days, most of the modern technologies, they are working on the 3-tier model. So I'm going to tell you what that 3-tier is. How does it work? We are going to take an example of LinkedIn to help you explain what exactly that is. Okay, and then we will break that in order to understand what is a technology stack. As in, yes, there is a front end, there is a back end, there is a database, but how do we go ahead and work upon them? What are the various technologies, various tools that are available to you in order to make sure that you are able to attach all of these puzzles together in a well-formed or a product with a good experience. Okay, so we are going to talk about technology stacks. We are also going to explore the technology stacks of some of the very popular companies out there and their evolution, as in initially when they started, what they were using, and now what they are using, so that you will go ahead and also we'll introduce you to a term known as tech debt. After that, we'll discuss in detail about databases. Okay, in database, we are going to talk about what is the need of database, like in the 3-tier architecture, where does the database fit? What is a NoSQL? What is a SQL? What is a NoSQL? Like this is asked very frequently in the interviews. Then we are going to talk about schema design. How do you understand what to store, how to store it, what the structure should look like, which is schema design. Then we'll talk about writing your own SQL query. So basic SQL queries, you should be able to go ahead and write after these sessions. Then we'll talk about caching, how to increase the speed of gathering the data from the database or putting the data into the database. Okay, and then we'll talk about multiple kind of data types that are there, and we'll use a very simple tool known as SQL Zoo in order to practice everything that we learn in this. After that, we'll talk about a very important concept, API. Okay, so this is like one thing that almost every product manager should know, and this is very frequently asked in product management interviews as well. Okay, that is, what is an API? So I'm going to tell you multiple examples, real example as an yes. Where is API at place? Where are they? Where are APIs in action? How they are working? Okay. Then we'll talk about a tool, as in you should go ahead and you should be able to go ahead and learn what like how to go ahead and understand APIs in detail. How do they work through a tool known as Postman, which is like, I'm sure that if you are working in any tech company, this would be a tool that your developers might be using. So it will give you more familiarity. And then we'll talk about like how front end and back end, how do they, like in the same company, how you can use API in order to help conversation between your various systems. Okay, so API is going to be a very important part. Once that is done, we will talk about system design 01, system design 101. Okay, so this is about how scalable applications are created. Okay, understand that when you are going ahead and delivering this lesson on Zoom, when we are going ahead and talking, updating our status on LinkedIn, we are not talking about 1, 2, 5, 10 users. Okay, we are at this point of time, maybe millions of people are going ahead and attending some kind of Zoom session right now. Okay, so how does a system works at that particular scale? How do you go ahead and design a system for that particular scale? What are the nuances? What are the building blocks? What can go wrong? All of these things we are going to understand here, which is horizontal versus vertical scaling. Okay, caching, load balancing, sharding, how does the YouTube, like how the YouTube is designed, like what is the system design behind YouTube? And then we are going to talk about some best practices. And I'm also going to tell you, understand that all of this is not from a perspective of an engineer. All of this is from the perspective of a product manager, as in how you can use this information in order to hold a better conversation and improve the experiences for your user. And also one very important thing, how you would be able to find a bug. As in, if you understand how this works, if you understand the front end, back end, and database, what is the difference between them, then if there are more likely chances that you are able to go ahead and find out if this is a particular bug that is occurring. If you can define the bug, locate the bug, you should be able to go ahead and find the right team to approach. As in, if this is not working, I should go to the database team. If this is not working, I should go to the front end team. Or this is how I should go ahead and debug. Okay. After that, we are going to talk about a very famous technology of our times, which is cloud. So in cloud, we are going to talk about like what cloud services are, what is their need, why people have gone ahead and moved from in-premise to cloud services out there, taken the servers out of their offices and put everything on the cloud out there. Then we'll talk about the very famous like a cloud service, which is Amazon Web Services. Here we are going to talk about common things like common services that AWS uses, and how you can use this information to have conversation with your developers out there. Okay, then this is like the new thing that we have added from our syllabus out there, which is mobile apps. Okay, so these days, most of the products, B2C products and also B2B products, they have one or the other client, which is a mobile app. There we are going to understand how mobile apps are different. We are going to understand what is a remote config, like since there are issues with mobile apps when you want to update them. Okay, because you have to go ahead and go to your Play Store in order to update the app manually every time. Okay, or maybe if you have not set it up onto auto update. Okay, how does a developer make sure that these things are happening? Security updates are being sent to the phone through remote config. If you want to change something without updating an app, how is that going to happen? Everything is covered in the remote config. Then we'll talk about cross-platform and native. So you might have heard about Flutter, React, React Native, and maybe this PhoneGap, or maybe this particular thing known as Objective-C, Java, Kotlin. All of these things are some kind of technologies which are used to create mobile apps. We are going to talk in brief about them in order to understand what to choose at that period of time. So we are not going to talk about like the how of the technology, but we are going to choose about we are going to discuss a mental model, how you should choose for a particular technology or not. In the end, the final call is going to be from the developer. But yes, I'll give you a mental model how we have decided the same. Okay, as in which technology you should choose when it comes to mobile development, whether you should choose cross-platform or you should choose native. And then we'll talk about managing the release cycle. Understand, managing a release cycle on website is different from managing a release cycle on a mobile app. That I'm going to tell you how all of that works and what are the nuances of doing the same. And this is the information which is like must have for a product manager, because most of the time product managers are responsible for releasing the app along with the release notes on the App Store market or the Play Store market. Okay, then we'll talk about in detail about developer operations. Okay, so how you can empathize with the developers. Okay, which is what is version control, Git and GitHub. When you tell them go ahead and change this button, what exactly happens is going to be covered over there. What is continuous deployment? What is continuous integration? Okay, what is the journey from local to production? When they make some change and then it reflects in the production, what are the steps that they have to go through in order to take that particular journey? And how you can work well with developers, like how you can work well with individual developers, their managers, and the technical people out there. And after this is also like a new module out there where we talk about machine learning and AI for product managers. Okay, so here we are going to cover like a very famous tool these days, which is ChatGPT, how you can use ChatGPT as a PM to replace yourself, and then how you can go ahead and become an effective AI and ML PM. And we are also going to tell you like a 101 on how actually what is the fundamental behind AI and ML. Rather than only saying that yes, this technology can change everything, you should understand the fundamentals, and then yes, how this works and how you can leverage it for your own work and for your own business out there. Okay, and then this is optional for people. Okay, this information is not at all required, but yes, since we have gone ahead and done these kind of efforts in order to understand all of this, we have gone ahead and introduced this module as well, which is this programming 101. So understand, as a product manager, you do not need to code. Okay, but I have gone ahead and introduced them so that we are like completing that particular loop, which is in this program, in this session, you are going to learn how programming actually works. And you'll be creating very small programs in, for example, writing your name in reverse, or maybe going ahead and making sure that you are able to write a table of 10 or something automatically with a program. Okay, so we are going to talk about variables, output, conditional, loops, and functions, which are like the building blocks of a program. Okay, and then in the end, we have some other things as well, which is like some tech explainers, as in how does the blockchain and cryptocurrency works. Okay, how passwords are kept secret. So I'm sure that most of you might have similar passwords across Gmail and other kind of devices as well. Okay, that is very basic. Okay, so how do these companies take the responsibility of saving you, and how do they make sure that if Gmail is hacked at any point of time, your other passwords are not compromised? Okay, and then what is tech debt? This is like a very important thing to know as a product manager. Okay, so this is all what we are going to learn in the coming sessions out there. I think this is it. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to share a form with you, very simple form, where I'm going to take your inputs as well. Okay, so everyone, please go ahead in the chat. I have sent a very simple form. It will just take you 2 minutes in order to fill that form. Okay, just fill that form and write done in the chat so that I know you have gone ahead and done the work. Okay, so I'll just give you a walkthrough. You have to write your name and email. And then you have to mention your level of expertise. If you do not know nothing about, if you know nothing about the thing, then write this, choose one in everything. Otherwise, you can write as per your own understanding. Okay. Similarly, you have to choose from these topics that I have mentioned, and also I have mentioned in the uh, in the session as well, in the presentation as well. Just go ahead and write any three topics which you are most interested in learning. Okay, so that we understand what to focus on and what not to focus on. Okay, and then the last part, anything else, anything that is coming to your mind, if you think that this is not covered or you want to cover it in detail, just mention that. Okay, so I'm going to give you 2 minutes. Okay, let us take 5 minutes. Okay, you will also get a break in this time before we understand how the internet works. Let us take a break of 5 minutes. You guys can go ahead, drink some water, stretch yourself, and we'll see each other after the end of 5 minutes. Make sure that you fill this form in the meanwhile. Welcome back, everyone. So yes, I think lot of cool suggestions from you people. Some people have suggested no code tools. Some people have suggested Web3, blockchain, IoT. I think that is already covered. IoT is not covered. iOS and Android SDK. Yes, we'll talk briefly about that as well. How technology businesses make money. I think this could be really good. And SQL, yes, it is covered. Search as a functionality. Yes, I think we can add that to explainer as well as in how does specifically search works. India Stack, I think this is very good. Like we can talk about India Stack, like India Stacks contains of Aadhaar and UPI and many other things. Yes, website, CSR, SSR, service worker. Yes, these things we'll try to cover, like what is server side rendering, client side rendering, PWA, inspect element. So I'll also tell you like how to do inspect element on your Chrome or other browser in order to understand some of the problems by yourself and change some colors here and there. Yes, AR VR is also a big theme. Cool. Yeah, I think really good suggestion, people. I think we'll need 4 or 5 more sessions to go ahead and cover all of this, but definitely we are going to try. Cool. So I think everyone has understood what is the aim of the session. The aim of the session is to give you the outcome that I have told you. Okay. And I have also told you like what all we are going to cover, and I'll take like all of the inputs that you guys have taken. Now we'll go ahead and briefly cover a very small concept today, and then we'll wrap up and meet each other on Wednesday. Okay. So the concept that we are going to cover today is how the internet works at a high level. Okay. So let us imagine a situation that you are on your laptop right now or your desktop right now, and you have typed google.com. Okay. Or you are on your mobile device and you have typed google.com. Okay. These are the two devices that you might have. These are known as clients. Okay. Why they are called as clients, I'll tell you in some time. Okay. So whenever you type this website or any website in your domain URL bar out there. Okay. So the whole thing that you type is known as a URL. It stands for Uniform Resource. I think it's uniform or universal. Let me just check.
It's unified, I guess.
It's URL full form. Yes, it's uniform. Yes, I'm correct. Some of the times, yeah. So it's Uniform Resource Locator. And this helps you understand where that particular file is on the internet. So how does it find it? Let us go ahead and try to understand. So google.com is given. Okay. So now, but this device, this internet does not know what google.com is. Okay. So on the internet, these names, people do not know like what this name is, what is English, what is Hindi, people do not know. Okay. The machines do not know what we are talking about. Okay. Machines only know about IP address, which are then also converted into binary. We are not talking about binary, but we'll talk about the IP address. As in, if you want to go ahead and send a letter to someone, then what you will do is you will put a postcard or maybe some kind of envelope out there, and on the top of it, you are going to write an address. That address is going to help the letter to reach its destination. Okay. Similarly, on the internet, we have something known as IP. Okay, but IP is a long number. Initially, we used to use IP such as 3 numbers, 3 numbers, 3 numbers, and 3 numbers. This was the format of IP. Maximum could be 255.255.255.255. This was it. But now we have something known as IPv6 as well, through which you can go ahead and if you want to go ahead and address anything, you can address even like the smallest dust particle on the earth with that particular kind of number system out there. This was limited, like only n number of things could be taken in here. Okay, but now with the IPv6, you can go ahead and name almost like give address to almost every piece of earth on the like piece of dust on the earth. Okay, so this has like much more variety of like much more possibility of addresses to be generated. Okay, so now what happens is that, but this IP is not very user friendly. Okay, you cannot remember the IP of like what is Google, what is YouTube. You just go ahead and remember the English terms, which is known as domain names. Okay, so in order to find out what is the IP of this particular domain name, okay, there is something known as DNS, which is known as domain name server. Okay, it is a repository, it is a list, it is a directory which mentions, it is a record which maintains that yes, this domain is mapped to this particular IP, so that you do not have to remember the IP. Okay, so there might be, whenever someone makes a request, any device makes a request to google.com, the site will first go to the request, the browser which is connected to the internet. It is going to find where is the DNS and what does the DNS says about this particular address. Okay, so understand, internet is nothing but internet is interconnected network of devices. Okay, so inter and net comes from here, inter comes from here. Okay, so internet is nothing but the internet connected network of devices. Okay, so maybe this is the computer, this is the computer, this is the computer, this is your mobile, this is the DNS. Everyone is connected to everyone else out there. Okay, so even if one of the things is not working, the system is going to work. Okay, so what happens is that there is a DNS, and that DNS, your browser is going to ask this DNS, boss, tell me what is the IP of this particular address. And in this DNS, there would be a list like a Excel column, okay, like an Excel sheet where it would be written that this is the domain and this is the IP. So it will search for google.com, and there would be some kind of IP on Google, some number which you would not know, we would not know, but the DNS would know. Okay, and then this particular information would be returned to this. And now the other, like any further communication, this person will understand that yes, for some period of time, I will save this information. I will know this, yes, when he's talking about google.com, when she's talking about google.com, they're actually calling this IP. And when this happens, now the IP is known. So what is the IP? So this is your client or your browser. This asks for some kind of information. So first of all, the request is going to the DNS, okay, with the domain name. Then this DNS will return an IP. This will come back to this. Okay, now it will remember for some time. Okay, every time it is not going to ask DNS, it will remember it for some time. That depends from browser to browser and from domain to domain. Okay, and then once it knows, now it knows on which device is this information possible. Like if you talk about google.com, which computer on the internet which is owned by Google or where the code of Google resides is going to be able to serve this request. Okay, so it will go to Google server, which is a computer or a list of computers out there. It will ask it, okay, that yes, go ahead, this person is asking for this information. Okay, so if it is only the home page, it is going to ask them, tell me the information about the home page. Okay, if you ask them google.com/maps, okay, then it will ask the server that give me the information about the maps. Okay, so it will understand the URL and it will accordingly ask them. And based on whatever is the logic, it is going to go ahead and give this information back to the client. Okay, so just to talk about the information, your client is your own computer that you are using, your personal computer or your work computer or your mobile. It could, these days, since our watches and other devices are also connected, that could also be a client. Anything that is connected to the internet that you as a customer are interacting with is known as a client. Okay, so this is the client. The information, the responsibility of the client is as follows. Okay, they have to first create a request. Okay, so understand, typing google.com/maps in the URL is actually a request. You as a client are requesting the Google server to go ahead and give you this information. Okay. After the request, the DNS resolution, everything is done. Okay, everything will go to a server. Yeah, so this is the client and now this is a server. Okay. So what is the server? Server is going to make sure that whatever is the information that you need, they are going to create that information and send it to you. If you are typing google.com, you are actually looking for a page where you can put the search query. If you are looking for google.com/search, you have actually giving them a search query so that they can give you the results. If you are asking for maybe google.com/maps, you are looking for a page where the map would be shown to you. Okay, so this all analysis is done at the server where the programming, where every logic that we are going to talk about in the coming classes is going to happen. Okay, so first you have to create the request. Creating request is the responsibility of the client. Okay, then sending the request is also the responsibility of the client. Okay, you guys should create your own notes. Don't depend on this particular writing, please. Okay, so this is there. Then there is server. On server, what happens? This guy is going to understand. Okay, first of all, they have to, before understanding, they have to be ready to receive. They should first be able to receive the request. Okay, then they should be able to understand the request. That yes, this is what this person is trying to do. Okay, so for example, if you have gone ahead and searched on Google, google.com/search query is equal to something, which means you are searching for something. Okay, so this server should have the capability to understand what the client is trying to fetch or they are trying to get. Okay, so you should be able to understand the request. Based on the request, you should be able to go ahead, do all the calculation, all the programming, put all the business logic, get the data from the database, and then based on that, based on all of this operation, you should be able to create a response. Okay, so effectively, when I'm asking google.com or if I'm asking youtube.com on my browser, I'm actually looking for a page where all of these videos should happen, should actually appear. Okay, so this request will go, the server will receive it, the server will understand the request, and the server will go ahead and create a response accordingly. And they will add all of these videos, find it from the database, search who you are, who is looking for, add the context, and then give you some response in return. Okay, so they will create a response. And the fourth part is would be send response. Okay, so they have gone ahead and sent the response. Okay, so now the response, how do we know if this response is being shared to this particular person? Okay, so there what you have to do is you have to, whenever these people are sending the request contains the IP address of the client as well. Okay, so now they will know that yes, this person has gone ahead and done this. So some of the times, although these days there are fail-safe mechanisms of the same, but some of the times you are going to find that if you go ahead, make some request, and then you go ahead and switch on or switch off your network out there, then most of the time the request fails. Okay, that is because that company might not have created a fail-safe mechanism out there, but most of the time these days it is very advanced, so people have created it. Okay, so your IP is found, and they will go ahead, put your IP in the address and send that packet back to you. That go ahead and go work with this information. Okay, now it will again come in the court of the client. Okay, now what the client has to do is they have created the request, they have sent the request. Now they should be able to receive the request, and in order to receive the request, they should be online. They should be able to receive the request. Okay, they have received the response what the person has sent. Okay, and then they should be able to go ahead and paint not the request, but the response. Whatever response has been sent by this server, they should be able to receive the response, and then they should be able to paint or display the response. Okay, so the server is going to send the information in a way that is understood to the machine, which is HTML or some kind of program out there. So your browser or your any device that you are using, that should be able to paint everything that has been given to you, that has been sent from that, in the form of something that should be understood by the user. Okay, so those are the 4 things. Just to repeat it again, as a client, you will create a request, you will send a request or series of requests. After this particular person, which is known as a server, is going to be able to receive the request. They should be able to understand the request, understand and process. Then they should be able to go ahead and create the response. Then they should be able to send the response. And after that, they have sent the response, then they should be able to receive the response and display the response or paint the response. Okay, so sometimes when you find that the website is not working, there are some kind of errors out there. Most of the time, what happens is that either the website is, the server is down, it is not online, it is not able to get the request, or so many requests are given to it. Okay, sometimes what happens is that you are not able, your information was incorrect, as in you are asking for a page that does not exist on the website. Okay, so that is known as, sometimes they are not able to go ahead and process, and sometimes they have their mistake on their own. For example, some other party is consuming these resources, so there are so many people who are going ahead and using that resource, so you are not getting time to go ahead and consume that. Okay, similarly, creating the response is actually the main. So understand these things. Okay, receiving these and these, receiving, understanding request, and creating the response, these are actually the infrastructural problems. Okay, this is sorted by infrastructure, as in you will increase the number of computers, you will do the system design in order to make sure that you are able to do all of these things at scale. But this is the work of a programmer, like creating the response based on what is being asked from you. Okay, so this is the work of a programmer out there. After this, you will go ahead and get to here and there. Here also, creating request, sending a request, and receiving the request is actually infrastructure issue, which is the software, that is your browser, your mobile app, is going to take care of it most of the times. Okay, unless you want to do some heavy customization. While this particular thing, the display the part, how do you display it? What should be understood to the computer, and how you are going ahead and putting all the information together, that is like a responsibility of your front-end developers. How should everything should look like over there? Okay, so that is why we go ahead and organize the things between the back end and the front end. And then tomorrow we are also going to understand about the database part, which is like at the back of this particular thing. As in order to create a response, you need to understand you need to have some kind of data as well. Cool. Any question from anyone before we wrap up the session?
Yeah.
Yes,
Hi.
Rishi, please go ahead.
So when we say server is down,
Mhm.
so is it that the server is not able to create the response because the programming has not been done? Okay.
Yes, so I'll tell you that when we talk about that server is down, okay,
Yeah.
there could be multiple scenarios. Server is down for the user, it means that server is not functioning in a way that it is supposed to be. Okay, which is I am not able to receive the response from my end, or I'm not able to display the form. Okay, this is what the user knows. Okay, but on the server, there could be multiple things. One thing is the server actually is down, between that the server is actually off. Okay, it is not receiving any electricity, is not connected to the internet. Okay, which means that it is not able to receive the request. That could be one scenario. Second scenario is there are so many people who are actually trying to get to the server. Okay, because of which server is not able to take any kind of new request out there. Okay, because it also has a limit, which like the kind of request that it can receive. Okay, that could be the second scenario. It is on, it is working, but it is engaged in some other things out there because of the large amount of traffic that happens with IRCTC at 10 and 11 a.m. in the morning. Okay, then we have, it might be possible that yes, the server is actually not down. Okay, but you have sent a wrong request, because of which the server does not know what to do. Although these kind of issues are mostly solved by some libraries that we use, okay, and some default functions that we use, and most of the time as a user you would not know that what is the mistake. Okay, you will just receive that there is some error and you will not be able to understand. You will say that, yeah, no, the system is down. Okay, which happens with banks such as SBI and other kind of government institutions out there. There is some error that is shown, but they are not able to understand that error. Okay, and then it can also happen that yes, the server is good, your request is also valid, and it also has time, but it has some kind of dependency. For example, you are going ahead and using Zerodha. Okay, but Zerodha is at the backend connected to BSC and NSE, and their server is not working because any of the reasons. Okay, and then also you are going to find an error because it is going to take a lot of time because they are not working. So when we talk about server is down, there could be a list of issues, and since we are only experiencing it from the front end, that is why we do not know.
Okay. As a client, it's just that they are not able to see the response.
Yes,
and
yes, correct.
Okay.
Correct. Sometimes some servers, like some companies, are intelligent enough to go ahead and empathetic enough in order to go ahead and give you the correct response. As in, yes, this is the issue. For example, 404 error.
Mhm.
There, everyone knows that this is what has happened. Okay, but for most of the errors, it is not possible to give that particular kind of correct report.
Okay.
Yes, cool. Any other? Yeah, Ayush, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, actually, I have a question. So I was thinking the display part would be done by the UI UX. So actually, I'm confused between what's the front end is doing, front end for developer, the back end developer, and then you mentioned the programmer as well into this, and then I know about the UI UX people is also there, and the database someone is also there. So as a product manager, like if I see there's an issue with the server is down. So should I go to the programmer or should I go to the backend developer? So I'm confused in that part.
Yes. So although we are going to cover that in detail, but I'll tell you in brief. Okay. So the backend server, like what is the logic? Understand these days it is possible to put the logic on the server as well, put the logic on the client as well. Why? Because of something known as server side rendering and client side rendering. Okay, we are going to discuss in detail about in the coming session that are about to come. Okay, and understand UI and UX. Okay, there are three kinds of work that is done at the front end. One is the front end developer. These days, these are also full stack developer who make sure that the website is painted properly. Okay, the buttons are here and there. Okay, while the UX and UI people, these are the people who are working on tools such as Figma, such as CSS and all. Okay, they can go ahead, they can decide what should be where, but in the end, the coding is not done by them. Okay, so if something breaks, okay, so for example, someone says you that yes, this is how it should look like. They have shown you a Figma prototype. Okay, then you can say that yes, if it is not correct, then you will go to the UI UX, you will get that corrected. But once it is implemented, then if some bug is happening, then you will go to the front end developer and ask them that why is it happening? Because it has gone from the hands of the UX UI designer to the front end developer out there. Okay, and initial days, like before JavaScript and front end technologies got popular, even the rendering part, like the creating the display and all, it was done by the server. It will actually give you a very compiled code which contains all the buttons and everything, and it will just go ahead, and client's responsibility was only to go ahead and make sure that it is displaying it correctly. The position and everything was actually given by the server only. But I'll tell you like how the things have evolved, what is server side, what is client side, everything we'll cover. Cool. There, you want to go ahead?
Yeah. So sometimes we see server error 500, or sometimes you're able to see just partial website. Some components are visible, some are not, or sometimes the buttons are here and there. So those are server side issues or client side?
Yes. Yeah. So that's a good question there. Okay, so we are going to also cover these as well. Okay, so understand when error starts from 50, 501, 502, 503, it means that is coming from the server end. Okay, which is server was not able to do what it is supposed to do. Okay, if it is a 400, 404, 400 something, that means that in your request there was something missing. For example, 404. This error happens because you have typed a resource URL which does not exist. So it says that it is your mistake. Okay, so this is how we debug. We are going to cover all of these details. There is also a 3-dot error where we talk about that. Yes, you have asked for completely correct thing, but you are talking about the past. Like this resource was there, but right now it is not there. So it has been redirected somewhere else. So 3 error, 4 error, 5 error. 3 is for the resource was there, but right now it is not there. 4, it is from the client end. 5 not, it is from like 500 or 501 error. It is from the server end. The mistake is from the server.
Okay, so when you are able to see the partial website, some components are not visible. So that may be some issue in CSS or JavaScript or something else.
That could be both. That could be both. So you can just go ahead and tell it to your developer. I'll tell you like how to use the inspect tool as well. But most of the time, your developer would be the end person who can go ahead and help you out to close the loop.
Okay, got it.
Shivam, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, Ankit, so during the filling up of that form, I encountered one thing as developer operations. So what is, I mean, I am seeing that word for the first time. Maybe I'm aware about it, but not aware about the terminology.
Okay. I'll tell you developer operation, like as I have told you. So that's why I have created this presentation before, so that I can tell you what the terms are, you are informed about them, so that nothing should look new to you. So yes, I'll tell you. Here, although developer operations is a different branch, which is also known as DevOps, where we mostly talk about how we go ahead and create the servers and all. But here, in this context of this particular program, we are talking about version control, like how does your developer works? Okay, how do they design a sprint? What is at Git and GitHub? How do they do continuous employment, continuous deployment, continuous integration? All of these things are covered in developer operations.
Oh, okay. I was aware about all these things, but it's just that
The term was different. Yes.
DevOps I knew, but full form.
Cool. So yeah, guys, thank you. So we'll stop the session today. Okay, and we'll see each other on Wednesday. Okay, and in between, if you come across any kind of thing that you want to learn, feel free to pull that in. We'll make sure that we'll try to cover, if not completely, but at least at a high level. Okay, so thank you everyone. Nice seeing so many old faces after a long period of time. Thanks a lot. Bye and take care.
Thank you.
Thank you
Bye.
everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.